Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm going to be taking a look through my very earliest purchases in a new vintage Matchbox toy collection. Now, I've always loved these toys, but I've never really known where to start. It's such a vast subject, but recently watching the TV series Scouting for Toys, where one of the episodes features an incredible collection of these vintage Matchbox toys, it really fired up the nostalgia in me, and I thought I've got to get some of them back. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today, so sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so the Matchbox toys that hold the most nostalgia for me are these ones here, which have got this like Stars and Stripes 75 logo on the side. So if you don't know much about Matchbox, basically they kept, of these little cars and models, 75 models in production at all time, and the actual models themselves revolved in and out of production. So this is like number 32, this one here is like number 43, and I've got more to show you here. And basically what they did, the models would be around for just a few years, sometimes 2-3 years, sometimes a little bit longer, other times only in for a year or two, and then they were gone, and that model was replaced with something a little bit different. Now, these were the last sort of Matchbox cars that came in like traditional artwork boxes, and these are like called the picture boxes, these are the exact ones that I had as a kid. I had some when I was really young, and then I bought a few when I sort of had pocket money, and when I was buying them they were about 30p, maybe 40p for a Matchbox, and they always had this like very 70s Stars and Stripes sort of 75 banner on. So these are the ones that I've got the most nostalgic love for, shall we say. However, looking back through their previous catalogue, there's some of the really earlier ones which are also very interesting. So I've got a few of those. So these are ones which are slightly earlier. So these are like 69, 70, 71, 72, that sort of era. And these were the precursors to these ones. So slightly earlier boxes. And then I've just got one odd one, which is even earlier than that. A little bit smaller. Same sort of style. And this is sort of 67, 68, I believe. They actually went right back to the mid-1950s, and the brand came about after they produced like a little model of the Coronation of the Queen, which was like a million seller, and they then realised that very small form toys were the way to go. So we've got quite a few to get through, because I've been quite lucky insofar as I saw the show, then I had a couple that I'd found online that I definitely had as a kid, and then very recently I was able to get to the West Point Toy Fair, which I popped a little video up on, and I did find some vintage Matchbox there. And I've also done a little bit of research. So I think what I'd like to do is go through each of these, unbox them, give them a bit of a clean as well, because they've never been sort of cleaned up yet. And we'll record my progress. And then next month, I've got a little bit of time off work, and I'm traveling to IKEA, and I've got myself, I'm going to be picking up a really nice glass display case, and I'm going to get some plastic shelving to put these, and also my Corgi Model Club models in as well. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. But I think what we'll do then, we'll pull these to one side, we'll have a look at them in order, and we'll also give them a bit of a clean. Right then, so this is the very earliest one that I've got, and it's number 21, and it's the Milk Delivery Float. Now, of these early ones, I got this one at the West Point Toy Fair, and it was a veritable bargain. Now, this is the only one I've got which has got a tiny little bit of boxware. I am intending to keep the models that I buy to the absolute best quality that I can afford. I'd like to keep these as sort of a mintish collection if I can. Now, the reason I picked this one up was A, it was about half the price of the going rate of one of these when I've looked it up, and B, of these early ones, the ones that I particularly like, it's not the ones which are like sort of like bulldozers or road rollers or things like that, mechanical machines. I like the ones which are a bit more interesting, so like advertising ones, or such as this case, which has got the original milk float here. So as you can see, it's quite early. Now this box, we'll have a look at that first of all. This is called an e-box. and it's E4. And these were produced between 1964 and 1968. So quite a vintage on this. You know, these are 55, 56 years old as we film this now, and that cannot be understated enough. These are really old toys now. However, they are around, many in collections, and if you look long and hard enough, you will be able to find them in really superb condition. But patience, I have found, is definitely the key. But I picked this one, as I said, because it was dirt cheap. And inside, the actual model itself is a little beauty. Very, very nice indeed. Now, all I'm going to do with this, because it's not too bad at all, I'm just going to get this is a super soft toothbrush that I use on many of my cleaning videos. And I'm just going to get in there where the dust is sort of picked up a tiny bit. Now, I am a little worried because of my lack of experience about finding toys that potentially have been restored, because I don't really want a toy that's been restored. I'd rather it had the little chip or box wear evident and I'd left it, rather than it being hidden with someone who's touched it up possibly. But there we are. I think that's very, very nice, that one indeed. It's lovely, isn't it? That's a really nice one, that. And I'm not going to be buying many of these because A, they're very expensive, so unless I get lucky I won't be buying many of these, but also it's really not my era. So just seeing if there's an easier way. The box, sadly, to have it without the tear on the front, it would have to be upside down, so there's no way on this particular box of hiding that little tear. But even so, I'm not too fussed because it is particularly nice, and of course it could always go on top of the box like that. That would also work, like so. But I'm thinking, well, I'll leave it like that for now because it just looks great, but I am thinking long term I may, because I've not got that many, I may just have the box and then the model in front of it on sort of a step system. That might work quite nicely. But we'll move that one over to the other side because we've got a couple more early ones for us to have a look at. And this is the 8-wheel tipper. Now this is what they call an F series box. It's got the picture of the model on the side, and it's got the name underneath. And these were produced from 1969, 1970. And that was it. They had a 2-year window. And we've got two that are from the same sort of series. And this one is numbered 51. And the other one we've got is number 70 here. So we'll have a look at number 51 first. So I use this flat-headed screwdriver, and I've done this on my corgi videos where I can just pop it in like that, and then I can open it up without my fingers sort of getting stuck inside there. And then I can just roll the model out and we can have a decent look at it. Now this one's got the pointer logo on the side there, and there's a little picture of the pointer dog as well. And we'll do the box first, I suppose. Really lovely box art on these, and I think that's part of the attraction of them, is that the artwork is so very, very nice. I would say it's almost perfect, this one. It's certainly, I suppose it's about an 8 out of 10. It's not mint by any means, but it's certainly at least an 8 out of 10. And I think the best display side would probably be that one. And I know when you see these on display, often the collectors have got the models sort of sat on top, haven't they? As I said, I'm sort of tempted to sort of have them maybe like that, and that will be just above it, because I'm going to have plenty of room initially in my cabinet. I'm going to be able to do that, I think. I'm just going to get some plastic stepping. So with this 8-wheel tipper, it is designed to tip up like that, so it has got that little action. And then the back bit comes out like that as it empties its load. Once again, very, very nice, this one indeed. Yeah, copyrighted 1969 on the bottom. Super shiny base. I know sometimes they do tarnish these. Looks great, doesn't it? Now what I'll do, I'm just going to give this one a very quick dust off with my toothbrush here, but to be honest, looking at it, I can't see much in the way of dust at all. So I don't think it's been out of its display box when it's been on display at all. I think it's just been kept sort of boxed, this one. Yeah, it's really really nice. That one, it rolls nice and smoothly. Maybe the tiniest little hint of something in the back there. That may just be a little colour imperfection. So one thing I have been very much enjoying on YouTube is some of the restoration videos, and this is why I sort of mentioned it at the start. And that's because I wouldn't, I don't think I could personally ever attempt a restoration, although you never know, I might do one for fun. But I do find it really fascinating watching them, you know. And there's a couple of quite interesting channels that do that. And I'll put links to the sort of the Matchbox channels that I've been enjoying in the description down below, as well as some other ones that we're going to talk about today. So this one here is, once again, it's in the F2 series box, so 1969, 1970. And this is the grit spreader. Now, this particular one, you can see that the box has... it's like been pushed down, it's been squished somehow. This top's okay, but that one's been squished. Now, there's a couple of things you can do with that. So I could, and I'm not too worried, I might give this a go. Is you can get in to this little bit of cardboard there. I'll slide that one off so it all becomes flat. I can lay the box out, cover it with some paper so it's nice and flat, and some cardboard, put a towel on top, and then you can iron it, and that can flatten the box out. Now I've actually got, and we'll get just a little bit later, but I've got a mint model coming, because I just wanted the model, but it's coming in a really tatty box. So that tatty box I'm going to use as an experiment, and I will film this. So I'm going to film the tatty box with the ironing treatment, and if it works okay, I shall do it on this one as well, because this one's lovely. And we'll see how we get on with repairing that box, because it's all there, it's just a little bit squished. Now, this one here then, yeah, this is a similar one with the, this is the grit spreader. So, so the grit would go in, and it's designed to sort of go through the gap there onto the floor. So you can imagine youngsters filling this one up with sand and stuff and soil from the garden. So this one has survived in remarkable condition here. Let's see the date on this one, 1970 again. So what we'll do, I said some of these remained in production for years, you know, literally quite a few years, because they were so popular, and they released them with different colours. And this is where you can really go down a very deep rabbit hole if you start collecting the different sorts of variations and that. But for me, these are like a little exception, and I'm not going to be crazy on any of these really early ones because they're a bit too expensive. They're more than I really want to be spending. But as I said, all of these were very, very reasonably priced, so I couldn't turn them down. They were basically half price. There was a dealer who was selling up at the West Point show, and he didn't really want to keep them. Well, he just wanted his stock gone, basically, and I was more than happy to oblige. So there's those three really early ones, and I think they do look excellent. Giving you one last look at those before I slide them to the back, and we'll get out some of the more modern models that I've got. Right, so the next batch we've got these are from my absolutely prime classic period, and these are what they call the J series boxes. So these have got either super fast, or they've got roller-matics on the front, and they've also got that on the side. They're in these great little picture boxes, and these generally were produced from 1974 to 1976. That was their era. So we'll look at them in order. So we've got number one, in actual fact, which is the Dodge Challenger. Very nice little model, this one. Now, some of these have been bought mail order, so as we go through, I'll take away any sort of internal packaging, because I'm not going to need that when I display them. There we are. So very nice box on that one. In fact, all bar one of these are actually really nice, which I'm pleased about. So the model itself is excellent. There's a little bit of tarnishing on the bottom, but I don't mind that. I probably would have had this one back in the day, because there wasn't that many sports cars like this, and I will generally have them. But it's not one I specifically remember, but it doesn't need much at all. That one's really nice sort of condition there. Now, looking at him, I'm not 100% sure. It's a bit wide to go on there. It will go on the box like that with the artwork, similar to how we've done the other ones, but it's not perfect. So for the sake of today's video, that's how I'm going to display it, but that's not how it's going to stay. I'm going to have the box above it, ever so slightly raised like that on a step, and then the model in front. And I think that will be, for me, how I decide to display my Matchboxes. But we'll pop that one over there. Now we've got number 2, which is the hovercraft here, rescue hovercraft, and this one I definitely had. I don't know if it was particularly scarce or particularly popular at the time. I don't know, but it's definitely one that I may have even had more than one of these. So it's certainly one I remember. I remember the colours vividly, and the box artwork I remember on this. Once again, this was 74 to 76. It feels lighter than it looks, and maybe that's because the base here is plastic. But it's a really nice condition one. And when you find these, I always want the labels to be nice, and sort of the decals to be undamaged. But just in case, this one doesn't appear to have ever been played with, but just in case it's got a little bit of display dust, I'm just running my toothbrush gently across it in the likely spots, because there's lots of areas where dust could collect. And then this one will be pretty much ready to pop on display. But once again, it's a bit wide, I feel, to go like that. It'll go, but it's just not great. So I would just have it in front like that. That's how I'm going to display my ones. Next we've got the Fandango, a particularly cool one here, very nice indeed. And this one is very much of its time, sort of mid-70s, and it is a really cool little sports car. Now the one I've got is the red, and it does come in white as well, and this is one of those instances where I may end up buying or keeping an eye out at least for the one that's pictured on the box, but this is just a little variation of it. And this is not untypical of what Matchbox would do. They would release certain figures in different colours, certainly if it was a popular one like this, and this is a great looking car. A bit of tarnishing on the bottom, which I don't mind. It's only signs of wear. Now when I got this one, I did notice that there was some dirt in and around the Roll-O-Matic feature. So I'm just going to get my toothbrush in there, and it's just picked up the dust and dirt that collected in there and around the plastic feature, because with a Roll-O-Matic, as you roll it along, there we are, it's supposed to it's not a great surface for this, but it's supposed to move the bit in the middle there, and it does move. You can see it moving a little bit there, but I don't want to push down too hard. But one of these back wheels will be connected to it underneath, and that will move that center bit there, and that's sort of how it's supposed to work. There we are, and that was the action, and that's where the Roll-O-Matic thing came about. And this was all in response to Hot Wheels over in the States, who had started producing some really funky, I haven't got any of those here, but some really funky sort of out there early 70s like mod car designs. And this was the way that Matchbox had to reply to that, because they were really feeling the pinch. Okay, so the last one we've got with these the super fast logo from this particular 74 to 76 era is the skip truck. Now this one I've noticed has got a tiny little bit of sticker residue on that one. I'm not going to get that off now because it looks like it's going to need a little bit of a soaking, but it's something I'm going to need to do to get this one looking A1. And that is one of the pitfalls of buying at toy fairs, is that some of the dealers do tend to put price stickers on, which is not great, unfortunately. In fact, you almost want to say, well, get your sticker off and then I'll buy it, just in case it causes damage. But I think on the whole, I've only got one of these, which has got sticker damage on it. So this one here, yeah, the skip truck. Vaguely remember having quite a few in this sort of style, and although these aren't the greatest sort of Matchbox ones that I like to collect, these sort of industrial vehicles, I am going to try and pick up all of the all 75 with the 1 to 75 logo with that one on, although it'll end up probably about twice that with all the different variations and where the models have changed. So it'll probably be easily 150 of those if I was to try and get them all. A really nice sort of action on this with the two arms coming back. That's brilliant. And this one doesn't, underneath, doesn't appear too like it's too play worn at all. And this is just how you want them if you're going to be buying these as a collectible. You want them literally as mint as possible. I try and keep these in shot. That's got a 14 on the bottom there. I didn't pay that for it. I think it may have paid maybe 8 for this one. As I said, all the ones I bought were pretty good value for money, I thought. When you consider these are 50 years old now almost. Yeah, that one's absolutely fine there. So once again, I'm just going to pause there. I'm going to add these to the other ones we've got over there, and then we've got another little batch to look through. So the next ones are K boxes. So these were produced between 1976 and 1982. And these, basically, they've lost the superfast or the Rolomatics bit along the front. And in actual fact, these are consecutive numbers. They're 40, 41 and 42. So we'll look at number 40 first here, which is the horse box. And quite an intricate little set, this one. So let's get him open again. Get the model out. Here we are. Now, this particular one actually comes with some horses in it, believe it or not. That little mark on top there is like a moulding blemish, and unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that. But apart from that, it's a nice clean one. Now there's a little bit of dirt around the cab there, and this sort of design, of course, is going to lend itself to dirt being picked up in all the little grooves here. But with a little light brush of my toothbrush, we're fine. And you can take the horses out. Now you just pull down the thing there, and the horses are inside, and they're still on the sprue, which is like the little plastic bit that keeps them together. So I'm not going to take those out. I might when I eventually display them, but I'm going to leave them in there for the time being. But there they are. That's the original sort of horses. But when this is on display, I shall get the two horses out. I won't, of course, take them off the sprue, but very nice to see there. So that's the horse box. Then 41 here is the ambulance. Definitely had this one as a kid. Definitely can remember this. This one's been wrapped up to keep it nice and mint during transit. So let's pull this one out. Here we are. And it's nice when you buy online and the dealers have obviously taken time to look after their stock, you know. So let's get the box art first of all. It's lovely. Nothing wrong with that one at all. So very, very nice. Now on the sides here, it's a white one, so this would mark up super easily. So there it is. Once again, I'm going around by the windows just to make sure it's completely dust free where it may have been on display. And this one's got opening back doors. You can actually see inside where a patient would have been. I don't know what would have fitted in there. Not even a Lego man would have fitted in that tiny slot, would it? But then again, Matchbox did do some accessories, didn't they? So that's cool. And then let's look at this last one from this particular series, 42, the Mercedes container truck. Very nice. And I'm always weary with these boxes. When I'm looking at them online, I'm trying to see if they've got any sort of sun fading on them. This one seems all right, but it's something worth looking for. If you're looking for them online and you see a lovely clear picture and then the side is all faded out, it means it's been in a cabinet and that cabinet has caught some sun. And having learned a few lessons over the years with Star Wars toys, I know that's something you need to be really on the ball with. So that's this one being slightly stubborn here. It's going to come out, yeah. So that the seller has wrapped this one in some paper, which we'll remove. Let's get the box back. Mercedes container truck and Sealand. Was that Sealand ferries? I forget now. Now what they've done, and I think this is how they came, the actual two pieces have been connected via this rubber band here just to keep it all together and stop it rattling around in the box. So I'm not going to leave that on there, but I am just going to do the edges again. But as you can see, this one's obviously been kept in superb condition. And once again, we can put some stuff in the back if we wanted to, which is nice. Now a bit of a tarnished base on that one, probably the most tarnished one we've seen. I've not read up on what really causes tarnishing on this old metal. Maybe the plating or something, I don't know. And I know it can be reversed if you were to get like a little wire brush on it or something like that, but don't really fancy doing that on these models. They're a bit too delicate for that. But anyway, that's the ones in the K boxes, so let's get them put with the others. Okay, so the last batch of actual models we'll be looking at today, although we've got a couple of other bits to see as well, are these ones. So these are in the L boxes. So these were first introduced in 1977 and once again ran until 1982. So I've got three. So we'll look at number 32 first, which is the field gun. And this is really cool. And most of these sort of die-cast series over the years, Dinky Corgis and of course Matchbox, have done a range of military vehicles like tanks and things like that, amphibious boats, but this is really something else because this is more in the realms of sort of toy soldier land really. And this is a fantastic little display piece. Love the artwork on it. So it's got a field gun with the base and two soldiers. The only sort of once again, this is just as I said, it's called the L series. It's ever such a slight change in box design. But here it is. So it's basically the gun is on this plastic base, and then you've got the two soldiers which can be removed in actual fact, and those there are missiles which come off the sprue and you can pop them in. Absolutely awesome, to be honest. Really good, this one, and the fact that it's been unused is all the better. Really pleased with this one. There we are. Sort of in that classic military green colours, isn't it? Lovely that, and it does sort of say on the box here, it says, gives you the little example. That's how they come on the sprue, and then you pull them all to bits, and then you can use that, and then use the gun. They're fantastic. Very clever little idea, that one. So I like that. Then we've got 43. Now they did a few of these like trains, and then they did carriages as well. And I'm not a massive fan. I don't collect train sets or anything, but I think as part of the 75 collection, they don't actually look out of place. They look as part of the line. This one's all right, and as I said, there are some carriages to go with this one. Tiny little bit of dust that's been picked up on this, as you can see. So I'm imagining this one's been out on display at some point. But apart from that, it's virtually mint, which is how I like these. I'd like them to be excellent to mint if possible. And then the last one here, sadly this one's got a sticker removal mark, so I'm going to get, this is one which I'm going to put a white sticker over that, just to hide it, and then well, it is what it is really. I paid peanuts for this one. It was just a few pounds, so I can't really complain, and the model I think was good, as I recall. So we'll have a look at this one, but potentially, because the other ones are in such great shape, I might end up swapping this one out, because I am very much only looking to have real best quality examples in my collection of these. Simply because that's the way to collect these days. I don't want to collect substandard stuff, because it just isn't, it doesn't warrant the space, with space being at such a premium with all the other collections. So anyway, this Jaguar is a classic design, the Jaguar SS100, and it would be lovely to have one of them, wouldn't it? What a fantastic looking car that is. I'm not a fan of the yesteryear models, so you won't see any of those on my channel at all. However, I do quite like the Matchbox sort of retro collections which they've done to sort of celebrate their illustrious history. So I do like some of those. But there we are. That's the full range. So let's just have a real close-up view of that. And altogether, I think we're off to a really, really great start within just a few weeks. And it is surprising what's out there, and there's plenty online. The trick is to really find them at a decent price in also nice condition. But I'm certainly pleased with what I've got so far. Now, also from the toy fair, I managed to pick up a really nice catalogue. Now, I've been looking for these catalogues online, and the ones that have turned up just haven't been in suitable condition for me. They've been a bit VG, but this is going to be the last year that I would ever consider picking up vintage Matchbox, 82, 83. By then, I definitely moved on to Star Wars and other action figures as my main sort of pocket money source. But I may have bought an odd one or two here or there, a James Bond one or something like that. But so this is really nice. This is the 82 catalogue. It's great, and it's got all the newer models that were due to come out in 82, and they're all numbered here. And as I said, it starts off with the there's that one there. It starts off with the 1 to 75 models, and then moves into some of the bigger ones. But the whole range is pictured there, and we'll get to cover all of these in good time with some of the variations, I'm sure. I like the different airport coaches and things like that. Those are the sorts of variations I will pick up. Some of the different advertising ones, the NASA space shuttle tracking vehicle there. The 2-packs, I would probably only, they are out there, and they've got the great 75 logo on. I'd probably steer clear of most of those, but I might get one or two just as an example. And then you're on to some of the bigger sets, and not interested in any of these. I'm also after an early 70s collector's case, a 73, 74 one that I'm trying to find, but the ones online are all full of cars, so that I do not want. Once again, not too fussed about the gift sets or anything like that, but still nice to see them in this catalogue here. And then you go on to some of the bigger accessories, and then Super Kings, the bigger ones, which are more in the not interesting to me at all. These are the larger cars, which they've got their market and they've got their fans, but they're not sort of something that I'm into. And then the models of yesteryear, which once again I'm not really into at all. But a nice like little catalogue of these the earlier ones there. Okay, so earlier on I mentioned how I was going to be picking up some loose cars, and these are not ones that I'm too fussed about getting boxed, but I would like to recreate them loose. Now I'll pop up a picture on the screen now, and this picture was taken, this is of me, I'm the little boy there, and I'm with my granddad, and this is a really, really fantastic photograph. I've actually got a couple more from this bit where I'm playing there, so I'll put them up as well. But basically, in the bottom left corner, and I'll zoom in on this now, you can actually see a little pile of some of my vintage Matchbox toys from when I was about 3 or 4 years old. So this is dating from between 72 or 70, no, I would say 73, 74 is when this picture was taken, probably 1973. Now, I put this picture up on one of the Matchbox collectors groups, and it garnered a lot of interest, and thankfully I was able to get the models in it pinpointed to number 7, which is a Ford refuse truck. There's a Setra coach in yellow, which is sort of hidden. There's the blue VW camper van at the back there, but the orange top has been ripped off. There's the one which is sort of on its side, stood up, is the Lincoln Continental in the yellow stroke gold cover. Then I've got 2 VW red Volkswagens, so 2 of those. Then the one that's upside down is the blue shark. So great news is that I've been able to track 3 of these down now, and I'm going to try and recreate that classic scene there of me with my granddad, just for a bit of fun, because I think that'll be fantastic. And I'll let you know how I get on with that on the next video. And then I've got one more thing, which is a little reference book which I've got. Now, for researching Matchbox, one thing I've found immensely valuable has been the Vectis auction catalogue, which was of Graham Hamilton's collection, because you can look at this online. It's completely free, and you can also see the prices that all of these have realized, admittedly for absolutely pristine, like shop stock examples, so the very best of the best, basically. But this is one of 3 books by Charlie Mack, who's a big American collector, and this does sort of cover the range that I'm sort of looking at, which is what they call the super fast years, and it's 69 to 82. So they're all in here, they're all pictured, and they've all got all the variations are there as well. It's not just the super fast, it's all the other models as well, the yesteryears and what have you, and lots of variations. Now, with regards to variations, if it's a big one with like a major color change, potentially, if it's not like a pre-production model or something like that, if it was one that you could generally get, then eventually I will probably pick that up. But weird variations and pre-production stuff is not going to be what I'm looking at. Predominantly then, though, so this is a great book, someone I can recommend, and you just get it off Amazon. I'll put a link to this down below. Predominantly, though, the ones I want to get are these ones here with the that classic 75 Stars and Stripes logo. That's the sort of the one. It sort of epitomised mid-70s to me when I was sort of buying these, although it did go on to, as I said, 82 until they started going to carded. But I think they're the ones that I'm going to really get the most fun out of. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this first look at my vintage Matchbox car collection. Now, as I said, it's very early days, but I do intend picking up a few of these, and it's going to make a bit of a welcome change to the masses of paperbacks that I've been collecting. And I'm actually going to have a real dedicated display case for my die-casts going forward. So I'll hopefully be able to show you that either the next video or the one after that. We'll see how we get on. I'm also going to do a video on recreating those loose ones for that photograph, which I think will be absolutely fantastic to do. Anyway, there we are. That'll be it for now. As I said, do check some of the links below, and I'll put some of the videos that I've found really informative and some of the channels that I've been enjoying watching. And I'll put a link to that book on Amazon for you to have a look at as well if you're looking for a bit more information. Thank you very much for watching today, and do hit that subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage retro content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.